Well, Mr. Franklin, did you take Judy for a nice meal or you feed her at the Fall Fest?
Didn't do either.
Is it a birthday?
No.
No,
No,
I
it
just
wasn't a
think every
birthday.
now and then he ought to take Judy out for a nice, it's like they were telling me one time they went to Great Falls, and I said, well, Franklin, did you take Judy, stop for a nice meal at a nice restaurant? No, they stopped at a grocery store, got a roasted chicken and crackers, and ate a roasted
Franklin, we're
chicken.
gonna have to talk.
When you got good weather like this, you gotta get stuff in before winter sets in. So I was working all the
That's
time.
why I keep nagging him about taking Judy for a nice dinner.
I had a birthday last week and we got to go to the Sacagawea. Oh man, it was wonderful. It was, I had never been there.
I've heard my brother goes there. I've never been there myself.
Oh, you have to, you owe it to yourself to do it.
Have you been out to that restaurant at Willow Creek?
No, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the ribs out there are,
That's what they
so are the
say.
steaks. But you've gotta have a reservation.
Oh, yeah.
It's that busy.
I've been there
Morning, Gary.
a lot of times.
Have you started yet?
No?
Okay. Do you know what your schedule is today? I've got a couple people in jail I need to see.
It should be done by noon. I think
I
our
think so.
last appointment is 11:15. 11:45 is the COS. Does that work?
Okay, so you have nothing after lunch?
No?
That's what we'll set it for you. All right.
Right,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
We'll start right in with budget and then we'll do the pledge and all that when we get to the 10 o'clock hour.
I did.
Thanks, thanks, Buck. Okay, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding everything's set except for public safety. You guys agree with that?
I think so. I never did get any more information all week.
Well, I've got stuff from way back, but I don't know what's current. I know that these two are current.
Oh, and Franklin should have these two.
They're your current.
But I do believe that this is, that the other departments, I think is,
I think that's my understanding.
It's
that
pretty well
everything's set.
done, I
They're
think.
pretty well tweaked, except for solid, public safety. I should think that there should be an easier way to,
Madam Chair, just a technical question.
Sure.
Uh,
That's the latest.
On last week, we were in a hearing on this matter, and then because of the situation, everything was postponed till Thursday, which was canceled. And then the agenda says the working meeting, so is the hearing portion officially been done and over with, or is this a working?
no, this is
Okay, so you-
continuing
yeah.
now.
Pardon?
This is a continuation.
Oh, okay, and the reason I ask is because the agenda did state it's a working meeting rather than a hearing, so.
No.
Just for clarification, Madam Chair.
And I hope I called everybody that I remembered as being here, other than Melinda, and you said you would call her, so.
And I did get a hold.
I didn't. I looked in the phone book and I couldn't find your name, and I thought,
It's a cell phone.
oh. No wonder. So I hopefully I got everybody, one way or the other.
I'll be right back.
Something. What is STEP?
That's selective traffic enforcement program.
There's so many of those things like that. I don't know what this is.
It's a grant through the state.
Do you have it for this year?
Mhm.
Are you gonna have it this year, or do you know?
This year, yeah. The underage drinking, the UDO grant, we don't have this year.
What will take the place of the UDO grant? Or will?
Not unless we apply, it's something else with underage drinking, which just came out last week.
Yeah.
Brenda, I got a question here. Is this? Oh, it's public mail, so anyway. For the year, where's it?
Did Debbie want you to expand anything, or
She's not feeling well.
That's your phone.
Oh, okay. That's right. What does it say in here? Yeah, I can look at it too.
That was the one that I
It
put
doesn't
up.
show it, how many meals.
Yeah,
that's wrong?
Oh, yeah, I see it, 1939.
that's why.
Darn it.
You can't make that work, can you? Or can you?
Next year I'll be out of cash if we do it that way.
What was the question?
On the paperwork that I received October 3rd, it still shows public safety as having 19.39 floating mills.
What does that page look like?
Just so that,
It's in there.
page 16 of this.
2300.
This one? Okay.
Probably annual cash would be 28,659.
You know, 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm just gonna throw this out for what it's worth, when the detention center was so hurting, we funded it for the half a year and then reviewed it and infused some more. Is that a possibility?
To cut the detention center in half?
No, 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 no. That's something that we did, what I'm saying is that's something we did 3 years ago, maybe, time gets away from me. But it's when the detention center was hurting so bad. And so we funded it for half of the year with the idea that we could review it at halfway and see what it was looking like and take from Pilt to put in there.
And if you remember, at the end of that year, beginning of next, I had to come to the commission and they had to make my budget whole. And that's where I'm getting this back of, well, we fused in whatever, I can't remember, $290,000 because the cash reserves were not set aside and the second half was not funded. So, I mean, it's how you guys wanna fund things.
Well, wasn't it funded though to Pilt? It halfway mark,
At the end of the year, yes.
but not at the halfway mark.
Some funds were put in for like meals and stuff.
I believe you're correct, Elaine. Yes.
I think we should try and get it for the year. Why can't, as many meals as we got in the general fund there, why don't we pull that out of there and put in public safety and have it
My concern, Franklin, is where you're gonna take it from in the general fund. I mean, they're all bare bones. I mean, you've got the clerk and recorder, treasurer, you've got all the different offices here.
But there was
Here's what's-
45 meals, there's 45 meals in the general fund.
Here's
Right.
what's in the general fund. Commission, law library, justice court, finance, audit, which is a federal audit now, accounting and payroll, computers, elections, personnel, clerk recorder, county attorney, maintenance, community service, fire, DES, coroner, public health, board of health, environmental health, mental health, miscellaneous, county attorney, investigator, which we no longer fund, and DES IM service, interoperability 110. That's the general fund. It encompasses a lot of different departments. And
So why is the coroner in the general fund and not in your fund?
They're separate offices, although they're consolidated.
Oh, okay.
Does that, I don't know, that's the only way I can explain it. It's a consolidated position, but they're separate.
Okay,
It's like, search and rescue separate, but it's part,
right.
I'm responsible for it.
And same like with the coroner, you're responsible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't figure we had, public safety had 45 meals and like their own 6 up to 10, right in that area. And the general budget, general comes down around the 28 mark, and then it's complete flip-flop. So the expenses have went up as much or more on the public safety as it has the others.
What was that? No, it was,
Franklin, you need to remember that in 10, they were not separated, so the mills were all combined. That's why it looks
Yeah.
like.
Well, I know, but it's still, the total is still in
The
half
to-
when you add it up.
The total still includes the detention center.
Yeah, the thing you need to remember is the change in mill values.
mhm.
Well, that could have been a pretty small amount in the bill values. If anything, it probably went up. I think it did drop at one time, but
And Mike has it first.
I'm sorry, tell me, just throw something at me.
I do know there's some things that weren't in my budget in 2006 that pertains to the detention and the jail that is in my budget now.
And out of hers.
That I don't know if it was ever put in hers, I don't know how, there's nobody, I have to go back downstairs in the vault and look up all the records. But there's things that have appeared in my budget that never used to be in my budget back in 2005, 2006, that's all of a sudden in mine. Like the generator for the TW Enterprises, that was never in there when Bob was here.
that's probably just a straight maintenance, I suppose.
It's $700-800 a year.
I mean, it's probably in the maintenance, straight maintenance for the building and stuff.
Didn't pertain to the courthouse or anything. But it was never in there before, and then all of a sudden it is.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, it's my understanding you're doing quite a bit of stuff over in the detention center and the jail.
Yeah, I'll probably spend 30% of my time working over it.
Are you talking about this generator out here? See, and that was never in my budget. I
Where
never-
was it?
Warren took care of it.
Yeah, before Warren. Before Warren, Bob told me it was never in his budget.
I've never,
I talked to Bob about a few things, and he told me that some things were never in the maintenance budget. It was very separated until, and then it kind of filtered in over the time. So I don't know what is going on, I don't know why, maybe that's why some of the mill values have changed, because it's increased over here on my budget, and maybe some other areas too. I mean,
Even so, it wouldn't be all your mill, or even 2 mills, but I mean, that's still a big difference for what,
I have about 17,000 that comes out of my budget, approximately, that I know of.
about 1.5 mills roughly then.
We do do a lot of plumbing and things like that, and electrical stuff over there. Is that correct?
HVAC systems, I checked all, I go through all that, fix a lot of that.
Which is a big savings to the county, rather than bringing somebody in from,
Well, nobody ever did it before. They didn't have the knowledge to do it, so to work on the HVAC systems.
do we have a sheet that shows how many mills? The 45.14 floating mills, is that all in the general fund?
I'm sorry, which
Oh, you have to buy treats.
What do you
And why
have
is
to
this-
do?
The floating mills, 45.14. Is that all in the general fund?
Yes, yeah, and there's a couple of reasons for that.
And they are,
We will need some money to have the PERS additional retirement available, should that be required. We don't know what the status of that is yet.
right.
So that's probably where that would come from, and that's the biggest one. But no, it's not, it's actually decreased from last year by 6.37 mils. So if we kept it the same, it would be actually more. The other thing we need to remember is, in the past, the citizens were paying to house Lewis and Clark or state prisoners. We changed that, and yes, it did decrease mills, but again, that's, you know, if the citizens want to pay to house inmates from Lewis and Clark County, I'm gonna have to hear from them in the form of a vote.
The citizens aren't paying for it. The
Not
county that's
anymore.
housing here pays for it.
That's correct.
Ain't that right?
That
Yeah,
is the case.
I mean, it's
And
been that way
even-
forever.
Even if we
No,
didn't
it
have
wasn't
any,
always.
even if we didn't have any out-of-county inmates, we'd still have to operate our facility.
Yes,
Mhm.
But they do pay, and they have been paying.
Lewis and Clark.
Well,
Any county out.
Right,
that houses
outside
it,
of us.
if
Yes.
highway patrol picks up somebody on their warrants or DUI or that, the state, the highway patrol pays the
Right.
inmates here.
Just looking at from 2010 to last year, the tax revenue that has come into the public safety and detention combined has gone down 65,427.
Say that again, please.
65,427. We got less last year than we did in 10.
I thought,
And also, the expenditure budget has gone down 222,000 since then.
I thought the detention center had an excess of over 80,000.
I'm just saying, the tax, the money from the taxpayers that come into
Uh-huh.
public safety has gone down 65,000 in the 4 years, the last 4 years.
And that's because like Lewis and Clark and all those others are paying?
You know, that's
What is it?
the board's decision. And we cut the detention center in half that, or you guys did that 1 year, you know, and then this last year, you know what a mess the detention center budget, and I combined both budgets together to come up with these figures. But the spending from the public safety, because of the lack of inmates, has also gone down 222,000. Plus, we've been making, like I say, doing more with less. We've held positions as long as we could without filling them. We in the public safety department have done our part to help out with this whole situation.
And we appreciate that.
But like I said earlier in the year, doing more with less isn't gonna,
Are you running full staff right now?
No,
How many are you short?
we're down one in the detention center. Chuck and Emily just quit.
And did I hear you just hired a new deputy?
No, a new reserve deputy.
Oh. I was told it was just a new deputy.
Nope.
The
I don't-
reserves don't get paid, do they?
They do for certain things, yes.
Like the Forest Service and BOR? those things?
BOR, yeah. And when we put them to work, they get paid.
Like for court?
Court, Fall Fest,
Any transports,
yeah.
anything that,
And they've been doing quite a few transports for us. Which somehow we gotta figure how I can start charging the detention for public safety, doing their transports and,
And Fall Fest pays the reserves. Just to clarify, that's not taxpayers. We hired them through Brenda.
What do they get paid?
I don't know, off the top of my head.
I have never been reimbursed by the Fall Fest.
yeah.
That's a public event and
We do.
I worked on all those years, those night shifts on there. We never got paid for the Fall Fest. And the later years of Christmas stroll.
We've actually just started it last year, paying a reserve deputy. Before that, we never requested it. Our insurance had told us that we shouldn't be advertising that we have security, so we relied on Fall Fest volunteers to do that, and some vendors who volunteered. We still have some vendors that will stand their tents for security overnight, but last year we started hiring the reserve deputy ourselves.
Why did they think not to advertise that there was security?
Because insurance is strange, because if you go too far to say that you're trying to mitigate something, and something happens, then apparently it opens a hole. We see that in law, justice, but also with insurance, so, now we've gotten so big that we do hire somebody.
If it keeps getting big, it's gonna be somebody's.
Right, right, yes.
I'm looking through the general fund here on the 45, on the floating mills.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just back up for clarification. Commissioner Robert says that the Fall Fest is paying for the reserve deputies. Just for clarification, are those individual compensated private employee contracts, or are they being hired through the sheriff's department? Because if the sheriff is dispatching someone to go,
To
it's a little
dispatch an
clarification.
emergency call would be totally different, Tim. We do go through the sheriff's department to hire somebody to act as security for Fall
Okay.
Fest for the
Okay.
evening hours, and that is a contract.
Okay.
That is a committee under the Fall Fest umbrella that would
Okay.
handle that.
And I'm just curious, because
Yeah, if
Sheriff
there's a
indicated she
911
wasn't
call,
aware.
that isn't anything that Fall Fest would be.
we've never
responsible
received
for.
any funds from the Fall Fest, I can tell you that.
So that's why I.
Up as long as I was there.
Where do those funds that are being hired go to, or,
To pay for the reserve deputy,
yeah, where do they go?
to the reserve deputy.
They do,
No,
I don't wanna argue the point, but we have never received funds from the Fall Fest.
No, I'll get a receipt.
Who gets paid? That's it.
My reserve deputies get paid out of my reserve fund.
Okay. So the Fall Fest is paying the reserve deputies?
No,
no.
Yes.
I'm confused.
Are they being paid twice?
That's what I'm trying to get to. If the sheriff is dispatching a deputy and a reserve deputy, and the Fall Fest is doing a private contract with a reserve deputy, that, who's on first and what's on second?
Yeah, no.
I-
That was
I
all changed
agree.
years
We're
ago
on
when,
the budget.
because it wasn't covered under
We
the,
have an
when the
hour.
contract
45
separate
minutes.
because of the insurance, and so everything always has to go through the sheriff's office.
Well, Franklin, you said cut out of the general fund. Where would you like to cut? Tell me exact funds.
Well, where's those 45 mills? Okay, where are they all going then?
It's in the general fund. You've got that sheet
Okay, which is
right there.
this one here. How many mills is this taking up here?
45.14. When I look at it, most of this is required by law.
As is funding public safety.
How did it get so bad that it is, Brenda?
That's, the commission funds the budgets. That's not my decision.
I mean, it's went bad for the last couple of years, right? Or how long? I don't know.
We were making do when we were taking revenue from the detention center and sub-funding the public safety, but you can't do that.
Now they have to stand on their own.
And that's the way it should have been.
Okay, Franklin, I'm listening. Where are you gonna cut?
What's finance?
That'll be Natalie or, in fact, Debbie.
All of that, like, one thing, that's not much, is it?
No, that's chump change.
Usually probably there's 30, I mean, still.
Well,
I'm going on what that Harold said. He says, once that gets down, you're never gonna get it back up. And that's just about the way the position is right now. Am I right or wrong?
What's that?
When that Harold told everybody, when you let it get down so bad,
When you start spending cash or removing cash, it takes $2 to replace everyone. I mean, that's the easiest way to explain it. And I've been spending cash, my cash balance for the past years. That's how it.
so I could lay off somewhere. If it's as
You
bad
tell me
as-
where.
Well, I don't know yet, that's what I'm saying.
Because as I see it, all these offices are run on bare bones. When I think about JP, they have the same number of people. Clerk recorder has the same number of people. Health has the same number of people.
I actually have less people than what I used to have. And the tax, like I said, the taxes from the citizens has gone down 65,000 what is paid in. It's a continuous, you expect me to do more with less. If you take what goes into the general fund from 2010 compared to last year, because that's all I've got to go with right now, it has gone up 245,000, and the spending has gone up 145,000, roughly, with some odd change. I guess my question to you, Madam Chairman, you expect me to do more with less. How? You know, I've been spending my cash to make my budget work each year because that's the way the commission has set up the budget.
You also get a CIP pill to buy 2 cars every year, right?
No, I don't.
I thought you did.
No. I come to the commission and they say yay or nay.
But usually it's to buy 2 cars.
Usually, yes. This year, as I said earlier, I'm requesting 1 car from the county and 1 from the city because of the interlocal agreement.
By the way, thank you for sending that stuff.
Yeah. Did you finally got it?
Yeah, I did.
I don't know why it didn't send the first time.
It didn't come through.
Where'd that money come from? I know it's not on there this year, but when they paid the investigator, wherever that money come from, that should be one. Was that pill money or,
No, that was out of the county attorney's.
what?
County attorney? John had come to us long before the big to-do requesting an investigator. He said his workload was so heavy that he needed help.
What else is environmental cleanup?
That would be Julie.
Oh, okay. And we part of it is coming back in through permits.
Did you see a place to cut?
I already did. We cut out 6.37 mils.
And where did that come from?
A little bit of out of everywhere, just to be fair. And again, it's just a proposal, but that's all I could come up with. But it's still a 5 mil increase to law enforcement. And then that's where the mills came up to make the airport whole and bring that to the legal compliance.
Would that put it up to 25 mils then?
24.31, I think.
Yeah, 24.31.
Does that even get anywhere closer, Brenda?
What's that?
Those extra 6 mils, that gonna put you anywhere close? I doubt it, 'cause that's only, it's only probably about $70,000 or $80,000.
That's 80,000. I would end the year with roughly 100,000 cash balance.
We're at the 0 hour. And
Well, if we're gonna keep putting the Band-Aid on, I guess we'll take it out of PILT, and well, next year, it's gonna have to be, some really cuts or whatever right at the start, when the proposed budgets come in June.
I think the proposed budgets are pared down as far as they can go. Most everybody's been very good about when we send out the letter at the beginning, or the memo, asking for budgets, and
But I mean, if we Band-Aid it with PILT or whatever we do this year, if there's expected cuts coming for next year, then looks to me like, I don't know how else we're gonna,
how much you gonna take out of PIL?
I don't know, whatever it takes, I guess. She knows what she has to have to operate there. I think these 6 mils will help, something like that, it's probably only 80,000, I don't know for sure what she's needing, or how, what do you figure how much you need? How much you, Was it 290,000, or am I just throwing the wrong figure out? Or did you say last year you got an influx of 290?
Budget sheet. It's the cash balance is what you gotta look at. I mean, beginning cash of last year was 656,000, and this year is 388.
So
So if you're looking at 28,000 ending cash, that's gonna be my beginning cash of the next year.
that's way over 200,000 then.
Well, you add the 80 to the 28, so that's 100 and, yeah, 200 and, you're right, 280 roughly. But if you do it this year, then next year you're gonna be in, like I said earlier, you're gonna be in the same situation.
I know, the only thing is, the Band-Aid for now, and then next year, gonna have to be decided where the cuts are gonna be or what's gonna be done.
I'm wondering if we should go to the voters and let them tell us.
We shouldn't be having to go to the voters.
It's their money.
Well, I know, but, I don't think we should be asking them for more. I mean, I don't think so. I mean,
I disagree, Franklin. If they want it funded that way, then they should have to tell us. What are your thoughts?
well, it'd have to be for the whole thing. It couldn't be this late doing this. That's what I say.
No,
It should be
not
like,
this
we're gonna have
late.
to, okay,
In the
Band-Aid.
future.
And then if they're gonna ask for a mill levy next spring then. But for right now, we're a deadline, we gotta Band-Aid it one way or the other, if it's built money or whatever it takes. Right?
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, we have not done any cutting of public safety, period. We separated the two. That is not cutting, that is separating. We received a budget on law enforcement from Brenda last year. We did not cut anything there. We infused another $292,000 into public safety, $200,800 and some dollars into just law enforcement from PILT last year to make it whole. And that's what we said last year is, okay, these are the parameters that you need to live within. Now this year we're hearing that there's an overspending of cash just to make the balance work. At this point, what I'm seeing is we've thrown out a number of olive branches to try and help you, to try and make this work. One is an infusion from PILT to make up that $140,000 cash. That was erroneously put in your budget last year, although we all knew at the beginning of the year that was not your money to spend. Two is we've made cuts in the general fund to take out 6.37 mils, and 5 of those we gave right to law enforcement. The other things we talked about at our last working meeting was working with the sheriff to figure out an IT solution, because she's spending an awful lot of money on IT and there are less expensive opportunities there. We talked about the need for an investigator and partnering in some way with that. We also talked about, let's go ahead and revisit that budget in 6 months and see where it's at. I think that we need a proposal. Brenda asked last time we were together, what do you want me to do, put together a proposal and manage? The answer is yes. We need to know where you're spending your money. As a department head, it's Brenda's responsibility to advocate for her department, and that's what you're doing. But as commissioners, it's our job to manage the budget for the entire county. We can't be picking and choosing from one to another outside of a realm of something that makes sense. I think we've done something that makes sense here. I think we've thrown out a number of olive branches, but at the end of the day, Brenda, you're either going to have to learn to live within your means or go to the voters and ask them for more money. Elaine's right, it's their money. How do they want to spend it? And really, a mill levy is the truest way of saying, okay folks, how do you want your money spent? And if they say yes, then you have a solid number of mills, just like Lee does. So those are my comments.
Madam Chairman, if
Yes.
I may. First off, I've never overspent my budget, ever. Matter of fact, every year there has been money turned back. As far as me staying within my means, this year's budget is lower than last year's budget. You know, I mean, I don't know what the commission expects me to do. I submit my budget, I manage my budget, I stay within my budget. It's up to the commission to fund what I don't, just like the general fund and every other budget. I have gone through each line item with you and explained each line item with you. Commissioner Overt is asking me as an elected official to pay for an IT person.
No,
May I finish, please?
be truthful.
Okay.
That's not true.
For me, as an elected official, to assist, pay for an IT person. Am I not part of the county? Last year, Commissioner Overt suggested that I get a grant writer and pay for it with the hospital, the county, and the city. So 4 of us, 4 legs do it. Once again, am I not part of the county? That's where the separation has come into play, and it shouldn't be. I am part of the aggregate fund as the commission is. I guess that's my question to you. Is the sheriff's office not part of the county?
Well, you know that they are part of the county. I think that countywide, all funds, we need an IT person instead of you doing one, Doug's office doing one. That's very expensive. I don't have the answer, but we need to have one. We looked at Morris and Merrily to come in and do that kind of thing, and they were asking atrocious figure.
Oh, and I understand that. But when an emergency center goes down, I need somebody here that understands it and can get us up and going.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. As in the clerk and recorder's office, if it goes down, they need somebody. If it's a tax time or election time, those kinds of things, they need somebody now. Not somebody, I can be there in 2 weeks.
Oh, agreed. But mine's 24/7, and I need somebody that's gonna be on call with support staff that can respond. If we have one IT person, I have no issue with that, but hopefully they will have some support staff, because if they're gone or sick, you know, that's something that I need to know.
Mhm.
But as far as me paying a portion of it, is every elected official, is every department head paying a portion of it?
They should. They should. So how much do you need?
Well, just to, as far as carryover, I think we figured it would be with the 6 mills, roughly 280,000 that it's gonna be short going into next year. And that's, when you fund it with a non-renewable resource, such as PIL, it's gonna have to continue, and that's, I don't know, in my opinion, bad business.
I think it's bad news too, but I think we might have to do it for this year to get this done. But I think it's the only way we're gonna do it. And then I think we just start making the cuts about next April, start going through what's gonna be cut. There'll probably be layoffs and whatever.
And as I explained, what was it, 2 years ago, I have no issue cutting, but let's do it across the board. I mean, 2 years ago, half a detention officer was cut from the public safety budget because the commissioner sent that memo out saying we need to cut, we need to, you know.
Your inflation calculator, what are you coming up with?
I don't know where 280,000 from PILT is coming, and I guess that's where my request for a proposal comes in. I want to know what you want, how much you want, and what it's for. I mean, 280 is a nice round number, but I don't know where it's coming from.
She was asking me what it would take to carry us through the year into next year
And I'd like to see how you came up with
because of the
280,
33%.
which is, I don't see that here. With the numbers we've been working
Well,
with,
I don't
not
see it there
finding
either
280.
because no changes have been made with the 6 mills, the 100, none of it. I have the original budget, which it's the same as what I picked up last month. I just picked it up last week.
Are you opposed to going to the voters?
I am opposed to go to the voters. I feel that that would be the commission's job to go to the voters, to possibly change the current aggregate fund.
How?
How would I do it? How would I go to the voters with this information? And knowing what I've got here, that the expenditures in the general have gone up 145, and the taxable authority last year had gone up 245. You explain to me how I would go to the voter and tell them that I need more money because of this. The commission would have to.
I'm opposed to taking the whole thing from vote. I'm fine with taking part of the vote, but not the whole thing.
If that's the case, we don't have a budget then, right?
Public safety, they have 33 mills, is that correct?
No, it would have 19 and 6, 25.
Yeah, that's not good.
I've got one here that says 33.
Do you have anything saying 33?
Well, the budget sheet that I just got last week showed 19.39.
That's right.
If you add 6 to that, that would be 25.39. So,
I think you're looking at this sheet, Brenda, is that correct for that 19?
no, I'm looking at the sheet that I picked up last week on the budget.
Okay, well, I don't know what
I'm
this
looking at this one.
Yeah, and that one shows 33, and 24.31 for law enforcement.
Mhm.
I don't know, I was just adding the 6 mills that you guys brought up to the 19.39. That's what I mean, there's so many,
Yeah.
it's not showing on here, so
And that's what puts it at roughly the 25, right?
24.31.
19 and 6. So there's, I don't know where it says 33 here, it isn't there, is it?
It is. Add this up.
Yeah, that's what it says here, but if you add the 6 to this in here, it's 25.
No, that can't be right.
I don't know.
7.39, 24.31, and 1.3 is 33 mills.
but the detention center and I think you're adding in the detention center and you're adding in
Search and
search and rescue, which are separate. They are not public
But
safety.
the- all three are under review.
They're under me, but they're not part of this public safety, the issue with this public safety budget right here.
I think that the difference is in a way of thinking. Public safety used to include those 3 things. So in order to have the apples to apples comparison, that's why those three things are added to equal the public safety.
Mhm.
For discussion's sake, the detention center was delineated separate of law enforcement, which is I think what we're really talking about, and then search and rescue. The three do equal public safety, at least is how we used to do it.
I don't like to argue points, but search and rescue was never part of the public safety budget, even when detention was in it. It's always been separate.
It is new though that they have mills, and they are under use, so it's, it still fits for the apples to apples.
We can't use
I can't
search
use
and rescue in
or
your
detention
enforcement.
funds, no. Not if they're milled for those specifically, they have to be used for those specifically. It'd be just like me taking road mills and using them in, you can't do that. That's why they're separate.
Yes.
You have here a gift of $140,000 additional cash to the law enforcement budget.
That's the surplus from the detention center, plus the difference from PILT to equal the 140. And that should clear up any misunderstanding of the error that was made last year.
I guess one suggestion I would make is gift the $140,000 additional and revisit it later in the year to see how much more we're gonna have to take. Tim?
I don't want to get into any weeds here, but I guess I would ask, you know, you're really digging deep, looking for a place to make up a shortfall here in this particular part of the budget. Last year, if we look at, you know, what you could call a performance-based budgeting concept, most all of the departments across the board ended up under their budget, ended up with a surplus that were delineated earlier in discussions to say, okay, we can take this money and reward these departments for doing a good job in their budget, which basically put that, there's a fund there that was kind of almost created by good business practice, and granted, giving credit to those departments doing a good job. If you look at it from a performance-based budgeting perspective, maybe perhaps there is a little room in there across the board in these different departments to make up a difference. I don't know how much, if you took the total amount across the board, across county-wide of that savings, if you will, and added that up, if that would be enough to make a difference, or if we're just, you know, talking about a smidgen. I don't have those figures, so, but it's just a thought.
Thank you.
So, and then Cheryl Campbell, when the different departments present their budget to you, are they presenting it to you asking for mills or actual dollars?
Dollars. Because the general fund, of which they all come under, is one. Yeah. And that's those floating mills issue, 45 cents. Just 1 second. And at that point, when those come in, we have no idea what a mill is gonna be worth. So they couldn't ask for mills, not knowing the value. John?
John Wright. apparently, from listening to this and many other things in reference to the sheriff's department, apparently our sheriff presented you with what she had scheduled in her budget as per just the sheriff's department, not the other two, and presented to you, and apparently the budget process was made not recognizing that, and now you're showing that you don't even understand what is what, and it's going back and forth. How do you correct it now that the budget's already been primarily put together? Were you gonna have to rob Peter to pay Paul? Because what she presented was fair and equitable, because if I remember the figures, it was about 46 mills, 45 mills originally. So, and then it's down to 33, now what is it now?
33.
So the error here is from either the calculation of the budget with you and Doug Ellis, and now these are sheriff shortfalls, and she's got to negotiate with you for something that's already been done, and now you're trying to make an excuse, well, we don't have the money. I think Tim come up with the right idea. There is money out here, it just hadn't been corralled up, and now it's up to you to make the correction.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
also wanted to bring to the board, if 140 is taken out of the detention, their ending cash beginning for next year will be roughly 142,000, which this year was 331.
The 140 isn't all out of detention.
Well, I'm just saying,
The
That's-
number we're looking at is to maintain the 33% reserve for the detention center. I think it should be a goal of the commission's long-term that we would slowly build up a CIP for the detention center should we enter a time again that we entered into 2 years ago. And we have some kind of a cushion to sustain that facility. But I don't think everything can be done overnight. But the 82,000 proposed maintains a 33% reserve in that department.
82,000?
And that's on your sheet from last week, it says law enforcement fund at the top. And this is what I see as the difference. If you take the mills plus the other revenue, come up with this subtotal, then you add in this difference from the detention center plus the difference from Pill to make 140, come up with this for revenue, minus the desired expenses difference. Here's your 33%. Just really don't see them getting 280,000.
Do you have this sheet, Brenda? It says law enforcement fund from last week.
I do, but once again, they're including all of the other.
Did you look at that one, Franklin? Yeah. The 82,647 is over the 33% reserve, right, in the detention center?
I
It shows on that one sheet.
I didn't make this sheet up.
And beginning cash would be $254,298. With a total difference of a little over 100,000.
If you look at your proposed, I don't know what this is from, the, what's in the room? This one, maybe? Too many of these out here.
What one do you want?
If you look at your public safety budget, page 16,
Okay.
and you go back to, or go to page 17.
Okay.
It's, if you look at your excess deficiency of revenues over, under expenditures, you've got 359,000. Take that from your beginning cash, and that's where your 28,000 comes from, I believe.
So according to this, you're short 331,000, is that right?
Do who what?
Or you short the 331,000 at the bottom there? Is that what that figure's for on the set, on page 17?
300, on page 17? 359?
No, at the
Or
bottom.
at the very bottom line there, it just shows us 331,897.
Oh, I don't know what that number means.
Oh. So, but you're short the 359,000.
That's, the way it's set right now, if everything's spent with your cash, your beginning cash and all that, I will end up with, if you look down there to the right, the 28,659. And that's what I will start my beginning cash next year with. That's why all these figures on these other sheets that aren't applied to this budget, I can't answer.
Well, it shows here, 33% reserve, desired maximum allowed by law is 331,897. We're gonna take a recess and go to our regular meeting. We'll reconvene at the end of the agenda. I think I've got 14 trees in front of me.
Easily.
Let's stand for the pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's one. Perfect.
Oh, there's the 53.
Yeah, exactly.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. The October 7th meeting, 2015, for the Broadwater County Commission. And the first thing is community updates. Franklin.
Deep Creek Restoration game, they call with the property owner and all that. Last, Monday, so it was. Anyway, that's what I went to.
And how's that going?
You know, they're working on the Deep Creek grant, and different things were presented there for it, and, Mike Funky was there to get filled into what's been taking place.
Brenda, do you want us to call you?
Well, we're meeting with Doug at 10:45, right?
I didn't hear you.
Meeting with Doug at 10:45?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll be back for that.
okay,
We'll get the other,
okay. Find some extra money. But,
Fall Fest kind of took up the whole week.
well, as chairman, I can't understand why.
I will say though that Fall Fest was started about 15 years ago by a group of business people to try and bring business into the community during a slow time of year. And it started at Massa Park as more or less a flea market and has grown into this. And we figured we brought about 10,000 people to town and a lot of money with it, which hopefully will continue to circulate for a good long time.
Well, hats off to you and all of the Rotary members because it's very much a success. And it is a slow time for businesses before the holidays start up, so good job, well done. Okay, I gave my agenda.
Oh.
You can take a look.
And absolutely you can.
Okay.
You can have it, I'll take, well, actually, I'll give you a nice, clean, crisp one.
Okay. I've got claims dated October 1st, 2013, $25,864.89.
We've paid those approved claims.
Second.
Moved and seconded, paid the claims of $25,864.89. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same. Motion carried. Man, you have an extra pen today. Mine is dying. Thank you. I need you to sign, initial that.
You want me to sign it or initial?
Either one. You do one, I'll do the other. What it is a bill to the Townsend Star, or from the Townsend Star for legal notices. A message from the Director of the U.S. Census Bureau. The U.S. Census Bureau is requesting your help with the 2013 Annual Survey of Local Government Finances. This survey, authorized by Title 13, United States Code, Section 182, provides measures of revenue by source, expenditures by character and function, indebtedness by term, cash, and investment by purpose for local governments in the United States. This survey is the only comprehensive source of information on the finances of local government in the United States. The information collected in this voluntary survey serves as an integral part of the foundation for developing national economic public policy by measuring public activity. Please respond to this survey online at the following address. If you need assistance with your response, please contact us by phone and give us the number. Weekdays between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or by email. Please retain a copy for your records of the response.
Can we ask maybe Tammy if she has time? I think
Sure.
we've overburdened Debbie the last couple of months.
Not a problem.
Okay. Just on this survey, I did talk with CTI, Career Training Institute, and we're kind of in a holding pattern. They don't have anybody for us right now. So as soon as they do, we'll be hearing from them.
Do they hopefully foresee somebody in the future?
Fall is typically a really good time, so yes, they do.
County clerk and recorders, finance officers, city town clerks, treasurers, finance officers from the Local Government Service Bureau. And what it is saying is the requirements for the budget document that goes into them. Microsoft Excel, doing a workshop. This is the same letter we had the other day from Gerald Will at Goose Bay.
I may not have gone through and taken out the old mail, just kind of ran out of time last week.
Okay,
So, and I don't recall getting much mail this week.
okay.
And I haven't checked it Thursday or Friday for sure, so.
And this is from U.S. government, on sale, timber sales,
Yeah, that was last week, too.
yeah. Franklin, tell us what's going on with the Deep Creek stuff.
Well, basically, they're applying for grants. Of course, no grants are gonna be given to Broadwater County until this investigation's over. But they're laying out different things. There was probably 4 different property owners there. Most of this at their work will affect the property owners. And I think they got a meeting scheduled. I better not say what the next one is. Here, yes, right, it was on the meetings, they said the meeting was at 6 that night, so I sailed in at 6 and it wasn't until 7. But there was probably 12, 15 people there.
Tim?
Madam Chair, I was at that meeting as well, and just add a little bit to what Franklin's advised you of. The Conservation District is working on a deadline to apply for what's called a 319 grant from DEQ, and that grant does some work in Deep Creek as well, in conjunction to the FEMA grant that has kind of been on hold and kind of lost since everything happened. So what's happening here is there's a kind of a scramble, if you will, to try and meet these deadlines of the federal grant program, and in conjunction to that problem, there's been a problem with getting the actual copy of the application for the FEMA grant, and Mike, our coordinator, interim coordinator, has been looking for that or trying to get that. He hasn't, as of last week, hadn't gotten that yet, and that's one of the things that were being looked at that meeting that night, was to ensure that those figures that are being utilized are accurate, because some of these came from before, and then to make sure that there's not an overlap in the same services coming from 2 different funding sources. So there's a lot of unknowns right now, but the folks at the Conservation District are doing their diligent duty to try and make sure that they move forward with the projects that they're trying to accomplish to enhance the Deep Creek project on their side. And then as soon as we can get some things going with the application process, making sure that everything is in order there, then that can move forward on that side as far as the application and meeting those deadlines. There's been some extensions already requested for deadlines on those grants, because October 1st, of course, the new federal fiscal year, and so there's some unknown answers right now still at this point in time. Sean Higley was unable to attend that meeting that night, and so some questions still by that group of landowners. The advisory council is what it's kind of called. Those questions are still out there.
Does this affect all, oops, I'm sorry.
Wasn't the application due last Friday, wasn't it?
I think it was, and I think, I talked to Mike, and Mike had indicated that he made contact with Tammy and made a request for an extension on that last Friday to see if we could get a 30-day extension on that because of everything that's happened and trying to make sure everything was put together. And the state DES and DEQ are trying to work together to make that happen.
Does this affect all those people on Deep Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the figures that were put into that report really were, a lot of them were challenged by that Citizen Advisory Council of being accurate as well. So I think there's a lack or a separation of valid information before the folks on that side as well as on this side for what's really there and what's being requested.
Well, and it comes right down through the valley, clear down to, is that correct?
Pardon me?
It comes right up high, clear down through the valley.
Yes. Yes, and there's multiple facets of both the FEMA side of the project as well as the 319 Conservation District side of the effort in the Deep Creek drainage. And some of the projects are mitigation measures from the flood, which in some cases those mitigation measures may be questioned because of the repair of the riparian just from time with vegetation coming back. And so some of the projects are maybe in a situation where they're obsolete, if you will, because they no longer apply. And then there's some reconstruction of the stream being proposed as well to mitigate future flooding problems. So again, it's moving forward, but it's got a few hurdles that it's still trying to overcome. So.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe some county bridges, Carson Lane, Lower Deep Creek, and
Yeah,
I
they
thought there was
mentioned
three.
Clopton, but I mean,
Clopton.
Clopton's fine, there's nothing wrong with Clopton.
oh yeah. Anyway, if that goes, they probably put the big concrete
Yeah,
span.
yeah, I'd be just like the one at Clopton and whatnot if stuff goes.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you did quite a bit of work on Clopton, what, 3 years ago, give or take? when it was
Well,
bad?
yeah, it was 2010, 2011 there, we put a lot of riprap in there, and that's all we did, on the upstream side of it, but that's about all we did, I mean, it wasn't much, really.
Tim,
I might add, just up by Carson's, just below where the North Fork Bridge comes across, and there, the stream goes around along the base of the hill there. There's a problem there that is being addressed in these grant programs. There's a retainer barrier that was built, and nobody really knows for sure when that was built to keep the creek from the private properties. And the stream is eroding that barrier continually. It's just a matter of time. So there's talk about some funding from one of the two sources, and it's kind of confusion on which one would be the proper funding source to rebuild that that dike, if you will, that goes along there, and it runs for approximately a quarter of a mile along there that keeps the creek from that private property.
Where's this?
Or up, just below Stocks, between where you are.
Carlson?
Carlson's, yeah.
Oh, okay, I don't think it's a quarter mile, but it's 600, 300 feet, 400 feet.
Okay, again, I
Yeah,
don't have
you know,
the
I
exact,
mean,
but that was a concern at that meeting and we discussed.
yeah, because they hauled a lot of rock in there, I don't know how many loads of rock in there, but they hauled 200 loads of rock or
Yeah,
something.
the private owners did already do some rip wrapping in there privately on their expense, but there's still some concern of the overall breach of that barrier.
Dana, come on up. Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I don't have a lot, we're just, maintaining some road right now, we're trying to get all the way from, well, we got pretty much done down on that end of the county and back here at Winston, as far as blading and stuff, we're moving north here on the east side of the lake right now, so.
Take advantage of this moisture.
Well, we are, you know, we got the line plant road done, I still gotta mag that, they bought the mag for it, and it's sitting in my tank, so I gotta get that done yet, but, we got tonight, this afternoon, or first thing in the morning, but I think we're gonna have to put we're gonna put a big pipe in a dry creek, not real big, you know, 4-footer maybe, right down, like probably 2 miles up, where that water come down off that one hillside there, you know, it washed it again even after the last time. So it's got it 4 times in the last 3 months.
Which side is it coming from, the south side or north side?
Well, it's coming from the north side. It's all coming down off that, you know, there's no, I don't know whether it's just so dry and whether, you know, there's no vegetation there, you know, to hold anything at all. And I mean, this is the worst spot of it though. I mean, it came down and it ate 2-foot ruts right down the road for about 50, 60 feet.
Now, is that, where about is that location at?
Well, it's right up,
Below the ridge road there?
the first cattle guard's the second cattle guard up.
Oh, right in there?
It's in Rick Myers there.
Oh.
It's coming out of one of them draws, just below that second cattle guard. And then running down the road for a bit. And there's a big, I don't know if there used to be a culvert there at one time or not. I have no idea. I've never seen one there, but there's a natural drainage there. I think we probably need to get one in there. You know, even a 3-footer would probably work, just something to carry the water through, you know, rather than going down the road, so. You know, we tried to do some ditching and stuff to help it out last time, but it didn't help at all, so. But anyway, we're gonna do that, and then I got a call on, Rolling Glen Ranch Road, for some reason, there's a couple people saying it's, when we get rain, it gets muddy. So,
That happens around here.
well, it does. So I gotta remember that and see exactly what it looks like.
It needs gravel.
Well, we put gravel on it about every year, pretty much. Every other year anyway, but
And it disappears.
it just kinda,
Away. Yeah, it's the most terrible base down there.
yeah, the base is good. It's just,
Bentonite type stuff, soil there.
but, yeah. So, anyway, we'll take a look at that. See what we got.
Very good.
Haven't had plowing snow yet, but. I
That's
think
good.
We're gonna throw a couple wings on here before the end of the month comes around, just in case, some way things are looking. Cause I know back over here on top of the Elkhorns and back over on top, Duck Creek Pass, I know both places, you couldn't deal with either one, so. 14 to 20 inches of snow just in the last 2 years.
Be glad we're not in South Dakota.
Yeah, it's sure nice to have moisture though.
Yeah.
It is, but they lost lots of cattle
Yeah.
and everything in that storm.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're just trying to get these roads maintained over here and get pretty much caught up.
We still have a truck stopped in Rapid City because of the roads
Oh,
closed.
really?
We had
Yeah.
at Rapid.
I told him.
Oh, I heard that.
Red Rock's had about 18 inches today. So, no, way to do it.
Somebody tell me, you put a stop, or the kind of put a stop sign, or Delger comes on to,
I did.
okay. And I was wondering why it wasn't the other way around, because there's less traffic coming from the other way.
Well, I don't know, the way I seen it, it just, people come around that corner, they come off Delger and they just fly around that corner. Had some near misses there, just people flying both ways. You know, I thought it'd be better if we just put one there and stop them.
Is there one on Canton also then?
No,
No.
Oh, just
Right
for
there.
Delta?
so, I guess somebody's gotta
I don't know, they just asked me, and I said, because they said all the traffic, Canton doesn't have any traffic, and Elder has so much traffic.
Well, Delta does have a lot of traffic, and it's all coming on to,
Yeah,
you know,
I can see that, so, yeah.
but they're all going Kenton, Delta. I mean, you know, so it's a
Yeah,
big swooping corner every time you go, you know, so
yeah.
we need to stop them somewhere, I guess.
Does that get slick right there? I mean, is it a little bit of an incline?
It's not bad. I've never seen a problem with it.
I just wondered, just thinking about the little bit of an incline there, made me wonder, perchance, in the winter when we have snow and ice and melting and,
I don't think it's a problem. If it isn't, we'll figure something else out and do something different, but.
I'm sure 90% of it is gonna be rolling stops anyway.
Well, yeah, as long as they slow down. I mean, you know, what the problem is right now is we've got, well, say like, mainly in the spring, I mean, we've got kids coming around, or actually even kids that live up on, you know, in the subdivision up there, and, you know, they're coming home from school, and they're not really slowing down much going around that corner. Maybe I need to put a yield sign there, you know, to maybe help.
Get their attention, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Maybe a yield sign on the Canton side, I don't know,
Well, possibly, yeah,
just for,
I figure something out,
not that they're gonna pay that much head, just that it's there.
yeah.
but the one on Canton side, there's only one family that lives down there, is that correct?
Well, there's a
Well,
fair amount of
over-
traffic.
Well, yeah. Canton side. Oh, you mean
Going
down
down.
toward the lake?
Yes.
Yeah, there's just Doug Lennon down there right now, but,
Oh, and the Clarks.
well, kinda. Not really.
Oh,
Oh, they're not living down there? Oh, I didn't know that, okay.
They still, you know, Aaron still got a place down there, but he bought this duty place. And then, Debbie's across the road. So,
Okay. Where's he have his cows?
they'll be
Duties.
down there, well, they'll be down at the Clark place. I mean, at the
Sullivan place.
Sullivan
This
place.
winter.
So, till he gets his other place figured out. But, yeah, I guess, you know, on that deal out there, we'll just watch it, and I guess if, see, I got complaints of not having a stop sign there. Why we gotta yield there, you know, instead of stopping people, so I don't know.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Paul?
I would suggest you put a stop sign on the side where the people from the mill come in as well, because they come roaring around there, they don't even bother to slow down.
Oh, there at the work plant?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look at that and see. I know there's a lot of traffic in and out there too once in a while, so.
We'll get used to your stop sign after a while.
You the one complaining about it?
Not yet. I've missed it a couple of times.
All right. Other than that,
Put the damn road in pretty good shape again, in Lombard, I was just a part of it, see, it's,
yeah, Willie went on all the way up over the tops.
oh, did he?
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, Jack called one day after that last big rain and said there was a few problems there, so I sent Will up.
I bet there probably was.
Yeah, that's a bugger of a road up there, I'll tell you. That's not any fun. Nobody likes to go up there.
Yeah, well, you got so many big rock that,
Well, he pulled a couple out and
Did he?
kicked them over the bank. And they were pretty good size, I guess, so.
you can imagine, yeah,
But you pull one up and then you gotta find dirt to cover it.
that's
so.
right, yeah, I know.
And we tried, well, actually, we hauled a few loads up over the top there a couple years ago, and I have a couple guys, they don't really like going down that other side either, but they don't drive the load, so. It's
Something
steep.
for that,
It's
Me
steep.
neither.
yeah.
Chickens.
Where is,
Yeah, that's what I
where is
said.
the county road again then? Is that
Right
some
at
county
it.
road into Lombard?
Well, it is, yeah, we don't maintain that much, you know.
There's hardly anything you can do on that,
Yeah, we
once you
just,
get down in there, what you say.
yeah, we just fill the ruts,
Yeah.
you know, but,
The upper part.
and then down to, basically to, Turner's Gate down there in the bottom, you know, off the other side, so. In fact, I'm thinking, Galvin County put a new bridge in down there, I think, on Brainers. Either they did or they're getting ready to. Cause they thought we were gonna have to help on it, but that's not ours.
John,
on, Dana, discussing a little bit about Indian Creek and the question about, like this last time you graded it, you done a nice job of grading it, but apparently there's not enough calcium dust control and hardener control put on it, because it went, after that, it went into such a soft, mushy mess that when one of the big trucks would come past you, you'd get a shower of mud and stuff that your windshield wipers wouldn't even clean off.
When was that?
When we had, the last time you graded it, right after it rained, right afterwards?
Just last week?
Yeah. It
Well,
didn't
yeah,
last too
that-
long.
That dust control, John, doesn't, it hardens the road up when it's dry,
Right,
but when it gets wet, I don't care where you put it, it mushes.
but the issues, and I've called in several times in this past summer, where the dust got so bad on it that you couldn't see if a couple trucks and stuff were, and they didn't have the crosswinds. You just went into an abyss you couldn't see. And you dare some stop because somebody run into you. My question again is, with your, magnesium chloride being furnished to you by Graymont, are you getting the adequate amount to do this properly?
Yes,
Are you?
yes,
Is it all being applied to it?
yes.
Well then, either it's not enough or something's not done right, because you shouldn't have these conditions. And it's not turning dark at all. The road is staying relatively light in color, which tells you they haven't got enough of it.
Well, the last time we did it, it rained right after that, like about for 2 weeks, and washed most of it off.
So that's what the reason was that.
And I can't, I guess, I understand, that they're buying it, but I mean, I don't know how much to have them buy. I mean, in fact, I've got a load sitting down in my shop right now that I'm gonna put on either today or tomorrow.
Okay. I understand that they got a short of management up there at Graymont. That the man that was there left, Jay or some other.
Jay, yeah.
Anyway, they're a little upset themselves about what happened, and about 2.5 months ago, one of their trucks broke my windshield on my van with a big rock. And I don't know where it come off the road or where it came out, that's when they was working down there. Thankfully, they replaced my windshield down here at KC's. And of course, it was all right together. As soon as it happened, I followed the truck back, and Scott took the complaint, and they took care of it. Which, they've been a good neighbor for me, dealing with me in the past 30 years. I can't complain about, I can complain, and I do, about the trucks that makes up the dust, which they didn't create. It's the county's problem now, even though in 1981, when I sat in on a meeting, that road was to be paved by Continental Line, and the county took the money to rebuild this courthouse. This room we're in right now is revamped from part of that. So the burden does fall on the county, and this is an industrial highway. This is not just a county road. Everybody must understand that. It's not only a haul road, it's the county's haul road for the dump, and on and on and on. So this is an industrial highway that needs to be treated different than just a road. And this is something that has been neglected. And I know it puts more on Dana, but that's the bag he bought. And we expect him to do the best he can. But he needs to be reassured by the commission that he has these facilities to keep this in tow as an industrial highway. And the requirements are different and the penalties are different. And versus just a county road. Am I not correct, Dana?
I don't know, John.
Well, you do know it's an industrial highway.
That's what you keep saying, but,
Well, that's what a haul road is.
well, I guess.
It is a haul road. Okay.
Anyway,
As long as you're getting
I'd like for you to apply your authority a little bit more with the commissioners.
He's gonna be up there, maybe heard John next day or two, put another application.
Oh, I
down.
know, and he does best he can, but he needs some more tools to work with.
Okay.
Because I don't think Graymont's going to give him all that he needs, when he needs it, and how he needs it.
Next question. Everything else is going good? Getting ready to winterize?
Yeah, I've got, actually I gotta run a loader into our 936 in Helena this morning, we got a radiator problem, so we're running in there to carry around, so we're gonna work it over for me a little bit, so. Other than that, I'm